depression. The problem is, first of all, hopefully we got identified properly as having bipolar, because we don't want to start taking a depression without a mood stabilizer is what it's called, that you take for your bipolar. We don't want to start that cycle again, because that'll just put you back into mania. When you start feeling better with bipolar, one of the awful symptoms of bipolar is that as soon as you feel better, it convinces you that you're cured and that you don't need to take the medication anymore, and you don't have to deal with the side effects anymore. A large majority of people, when they get better, they quit taking the meds. Then they cycle back into a manic episode in about 8 weeks. That's about how long the meds stay in our body. And before they can get back on the meds in time, they'll cycle into mania. They'll protest needing the meds even greater, and they'll destroy their life. And it always comes with a massive amount of destruction. As a matter of fact, it's one of the criteria in the doctor's manual is that it has to create significant impairment in not only your professional, but in your social life. To answer your question, it's really, you have to either wait for the person to just biologically cycle out of the mania, and then hopefully they seek treatment in the depression, and then hope that they keep treatment, or they just going to stay in the mania in spite of all that's wrong with their life.
Yeah. It sounds to me like as much as the condition will cause you to lose important relationships, it sounds like this disorder needs at least one person in a relationship that's going to help you recognize when something is off balance. Even though you may not listen to it, it sounds like you need to have someone there who's going to say, hey, this is what we're going to do no matter how much you protest it, or something like that. Is that right, or does that just cause more problems to have someone telling you what to do?
Well, it depends on when you started that agreement. So what I teach, as I spend most of my time, I do mentor a lot of individuals, but most of my work is dedicated to the family members to know exactly what you just said. How do I do this? How do I give them early warning signs? How do I help them treat their illness well? You know, I want to be a better partner. And like all of us, when we get diagnosed with bipolar disorder, this is the manual we get. We get handed prescriptions to usually multiple drugs, because it's a cocktail. It's a mix, never just one med, and another appointment. That's our manual. That's how much we got. We got nothing. And the family has less, because they didn't even get the medication. Right? They didn't even get the
Sometimes they probably need it, right?
They need it too. They can use it too. So the secret is to get the family members educated enough to be able to help with treatment. Just like if you had a diabetic son or daughter, or husband or wife, you'd want to know everything you could about diabetes that would help treat him or her.
Yeah.
And so researchers found back in the early 1980s they found that if they gave family members a course, an education course on bipolar, you know, basically bipolar basics, maybe a little bit more advanced than that, taught them how to communicate a little bit better, and taught them how to problem solve better, that these researchers tripled the odds of getting somebody into remission by just working with the family. And the reason is that when the family went from contempt, which is where most families are with the individual, to compassion, the stressors got so greatly reduced on the individual that they got better, because stress is one of the hugest triggers for us. Going back to what you were saying, how does that get communicated, though, is a trick. If you're going to say, hey, I want to help you monitor your symptoms, and you're telling them that in a manic state, it's probably going to go into a fight. But if you can get them either in a depressed state or more of a normal state, then you have something to work with. And I teach how to make an agreement between all the parties that have contact with the individual, and how to report early warning signs for the individual's benefit.
So if there's someone listening right now that has a family member with bipolar disorder, how would they find out the programs that you offer for them?
Well, the best place for them to come to is my Facebook page called Bipolar Solutions.
Okay.
And there I post weekly content. I do 2 or 3 Facebook Lives a week, and they can learn a great deal right there. If they like my page, they'll be getting information about things that I have that may not be on Facebook, that they can learn more about by sharing their email address with me, for example. Then I can put them on our mailing list. I have a course just like the researchers taught, that I videotaped all the lessons. I gave this course to families one-on-one for about 2 years, and the results were just like the researchers got. And I was shocked. Families were getting reunited again, and it wasn't because of me. I was just a teacher. I was an advisor, but they did the work, and the results have been phenomenal. But I just got to be more than I could handle one-on-one with families. Yeah. So that's why I put it all on video. And we're just ready to offer a subscription service, so it'll be like $19.95 a month, and that'll include that course that I've sold for $247. That would be free inside the subscription. The membership, it's going to be called Bipolar Solutions Plus, and that's the membership site. And they'll get their own private Facebook group where they can build community, support each other. They'll get 2 live webinars a month from me with plenty of time for questions, and they'll get a full video library. So not only just the course, but every video I've done outside the course too. And this way people can access that for not a lot of money, and they can stay in as long as they want, month to month, however long they want, to benefit from the work that's in there.
I understand that you call yourself Bipolar Bob. Is that true?
People started calling me that. I would say that's one thing that people call me a lot around here. That has to speak. And,
are you okay with that?
I'm fine with that. I even wear a T-shirt that says bipolar on it often.
Okay.
And it's in
nice.
Funny crayon font, and it's got a smiley face and a sad face combined.
Oh. I was going to say, with a lot of mental illnesses, there's a stigma associated with that, and a lot of people don't like to tell others that they're dealing with something like this. But you, on the other hand, seem to feel a passion for it, or a drive to do this. What do you feel like you get from what you're doing, from the work that you're doing? What are some of the success stories or experiences that you had? Tell me about how your life is better because of what you're doing.
Well, it ended up being more like a calling. I don't go to church very often anymore at this time, so I don't have an assignment at church anymore. And all of a sudden, it just seemed like this became a calling. Every time I spoke, I would always have somebody meet me after my talk and ask me if I would coach their family. And it wasn't anything I didn't sit down and design a business plan like I did when I was manic and opened up a dozen businesses. This wasn't even a thought. It just kind of came to me, and now it feels like a ministry of some sort, that there's a higher power, whatever person believes, God or whatever, but there's a higher force out there that, for me, that's God, that is really directing this work and kind of compels me to do the work. Be honest, first of all, I'm surprised that there's really nothing like this anywhere online or even in clinicians' offices. This research has somehow been ignored. And so I find myself as the lone ranger with this message that's so powerful. The message is powerful, not me. The message is so powerful that it keeps me up at night. I just don't ever think I'm getting my message out enough. It just compelled me because of the suffering. And I'll give you some examples. Like I met one family. They met me after seeing me give a workshop. They started with a son that had, I think they had a restraining order on him. It was awful. A family, you have 2 sisters, a mom and a dad, and they all kind of wished he would just go away in any way that could be possible. And to hear a mother say that about their son takes you to a dark place, honestly, for me. I was like, did this mom just say that she'd rather see her son take his life than have to deal with his life? I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's desperation, isn't it?
That's just despair. That's just like, we're done. We're done. And I thought, this happened to me, and I lost everything that was dear to me, and I haven't recovered everything back with my children. And it's an awful, awful thing. So when I was able to work with that family, and all of a sudden now the son lives home, they have a great relationship. The son went and got treatment on his own, checked himself into a 9-month long-term clinic out of state. I've played golf with mom, dad, the son, and me, and I see, that it worked, right? And I see that had no hope of working until they knew the program, they got the education. So that's the driver for me. I always tell people, if God would mind putting about 5,000 other people doing this on the planet, I'd be happy to play golf all day long.
There you go. Nice.
But that's not his plan for me right now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of golf, we obviously know that you like to golf. Are there other things that you like to do that now that your bipolar is somewhat manageable and under control that you enjoy doing other than golf?
Well, yeah, I've started learning how to play the drums, and I have a nice electric drum set, so I can play that any time of the day with my headphones on, or I can pipe it out the amplifier, and I'm trying to learn how to do that. Unfortunately, I got divorced with my second wife a couple of years ago, but since then I've met a wonderful person that is the joy of my life, and that I spend a lot of time with her. And we have a great time, and we binge watch a lot of TV shows and watch a lot of movies together. And she had a history of bipolar in her family, and so she comes to this relationship with a real keen awareness of the illness.
That's got to be helpful.
That's a huge help.
Yeah.
Because she didn't need to be educated as much as somebody that doesn't have this kind of background. And I've been able to help her family, by being an advisor, too, which has been fantastic. I keep it in check for the most part, but nobody really gets this 100% all the time. When you ask me if I like it, people call me bipolar Bob. I don't mind it, and I'm so out that more people know me as bipolar Bob than know me any other way in my life right now. So,
well, it's a great name, actually.
Thousands of people. Sometimes I make this analogy comparison between Bob and bipolar Bob. And bipolar Bob's actually the villain in that story. And I don't want to be considered the villain all the time. But I am Bob, who has bipolar, and I'm happy to say that out loud, because I can represent what wellness looks like with this illness, where the vast majority of people don't know what anybody looks like that's well with bipolar. If you knew anybody that you knew had it, you probably only knew they had it was because they had bizarre behavior. I love it when I go and speak and people come up to me and go, "Where's the guy with the mental illness?" Like as if there's another speaker coming. And I'm like, you're looking at him, dude. I'm crazy as can be.
Well, that's got to make you feel good. Yeah.
It's a terrific feeling. So I do get good feelings from seeing families get back together or stay together. I get good feelings knowing that even though I couldn't stop what happened to me and my family because I was ill, that I'm at least able to stop it for others. And I love the comments I get on Facebook where some of them are over the top as far as I'm concerned, but I believe the people when they say that I've done something, saved their lives, saved their marriage, saved their relationship with their child. And I'm like, okay, this is way bigger than me. And that makes me feel good. It makes me feel good that I just showed up for it, because I don't take pride in what I do. I mean, that's not about me. I do feel good that I show up instead of letting this illness beat me
Of course, and so many other people appreciate that as well, I'm sure. How are things